Right. Okay. Good. So we'll have, yeah, that'll be today's. So this is going to be your microphone. That way you have a microphone. Oh, you're leaving, right? Are you going to be going? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave this. This will be for the scribe. I don't know who it's going to be today, Ron or somebody. But I'll leave this over here for now. There's a microphone for the scribe. Good. And then I'll move this microphone. Okay, great. So here's what we need to do is we need to get the couches properly adjusted, which is, that's good. So over on that side, could you move your couches in over here so we can see you around the edges, just like the other side? Great. That way we will have our proper setup. And beautiful. Microphones. Yeah, so we can see, come right in. You might have to do it, keep going so we can see you along the edges, as well as here as well. That's great. Let's do that first. And then we've got our class for everybody online. It'll look like a class. Nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, and then would you be able to just sit over there next to Mike? Yeah, sit next to Mike. Thank you. Okay. And then we're good. We're starting to fill up. And I'll tell you what the next little development is in terms of getting us. And then, yeah, I think we're good. We can keep that. That's great. I'll get the doors. Hi, everybody online. We're just getting connected as usual. Welcome, everybody, to our Friday journey through the human story. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about, I'll start this today. And then, so we want a board, and you're going to be writing your names here. So this is how we're going to do attendance. So we'll start with me, and then Maureen. Okay. And Maureen Kahn. So every class we do this. Okay. So, all right. So, the first little change as we continue to tweak our format is that attendance now is going to be done as once we're doing it, and then things change a little bit, but I can come back to what always works so well, which is when you come in, please write your name on the door, okay, clearly. And I will give you some time to do that. You can do that now too. I can talk to you while you're doing it, but I'm also going to be writing your name on there. And for the Cosmos, actually, I think, yeah, yeah, good. You can go ahead in the Cosmos, go ahead and run the video in the folder called Beauty is Humanity while we run it here. It's just a little introductory blast of good feeling about the human story and the human rise on planet Earth. It's about a minute and a half long. And other than that, everybody in the cosmos can hear me right now. I'm assuming Aaron, Akmal, Ethan, and is it Liam? Hi, all of you. Just make sure that you can acknowledge me. And so I'm perfect. Okay, so all good. As long as I know you can hear me and see me, Maureen's got things under control on the DJing of the class. And that's what we do is we make music in this class, but we do it in a kind of different way, which is it's all about knowledge and understanding. Excellent. Come on in, everybody. So in terms of the attendance, just so you know, please sign your name on the, exactly, that's how we're going to be doing it. And very shortly, you're going to be up on your feet doing creation myths at the pods, as we discussed last week. We never got to that. So I need to get you set up for that. This is going to be a big think tank, interactive, moving around day that's going to be sort of flipped in the sense that I'm going to give you the lecture, Ascent of Humanity, after the activity, since we didn't have a chance to do it last week. Okay, so officially we are going, right? We have launched. We're beginning to head into the big blue beyond. And let's see, we'll leave the video up there for now. Why not? We have lots in the class folder to get to, and also for the presentation that I'm going to give. But welcome everybody to officially our Short History of the World Friday class. And today's topic is chapter 3 in our story, Ascent of Humanity. So we're going to essentially go from the Great Divergence, which is where we left off last week, 7 million years ago, to the starting line, which is the beginning of civilization on planet Earth, largely 10,000 years ago. So we'll get going with the timeline in a moment. And unless there is someone else who would like some easy participation marks and likes to write, I can put Ron back on the board as our class scribe. Are you okay doing that? Yeah, okay. But I'd like to give everybody a chance to do this. Let's just remind ourselves of what, yes. Oh, okay. I'll let Mayreen, thanks for letting us know, okay? And then Mayreen will take care of the tech. But absolutely, keep an eye on the big dashboard, our $500,000 dashboard that we're really trying to develop well here. So essentially, what I want to make sure you all remember when you come into this class is that we are creating this new kind of classroom. And so it always helps when you can see things around you that aren't working or something's wrong with the tech, just bring it to our attention and we're going to troubleshoot as quickly as we can. The whole idea of what we do in this classroom is we're trying to create a new kind of educational experience that can get ahead in the post-pandemic world and make coming into a class actually really exciting and interesting so that education can be kind of ahead of society instead of behind. The last thing I think we need to be doing anymore in education is for groups of people either to be sitting on Zoom from their homes as little, caged faces talking to each other and looking around them when they turn the camera off and finding out that there's nobody there once the machine is turned off. We're trying to bring things back to the way they have always been, a really good interactive classroom. So I am always ready to come in based on this continuing good attendance that we're getting in person. It's entirely elective. It's optional. I give you choice. So the fact that you're coming more and more in person makes me want to bring you an even better class each time. And so what we're going to do today is very shortly, after a little bit of review and getting you set up, we're going to get going on the activity that we never did last week. We didn't have time for, and that's the creation myth activity. And we're going to put you into 2s or 3s, and you're each going to work at individual pods, and you're going to have to work together to explain one particular creation myth from one particular culture that you will choose. And then by essentially noon or so, maybe earlier, after having taken that up, I'm going to jump into the Ascent of Humanity lecture and try and get you from 7 million years ago, the Great Divergence, up to the beginning of civilization or the starting line. And I liked what Ron was doing last week with the notes, but anybody else can be doing that as well. And that is that we not just take notes, but we keep a timeline going so that you can really have a good sense of how evolution and the passage of time works. It's a very important part of the story. Understanding why evolution is true. So you're going to hear from Jerry Coyne today a little bit. He's an evolutionary biologist, one of our best at the University of Chicago, and I will be talking more about him. So let's make sure that everything is set up here and we're good there. Online in the cosmos, nice to see Aaron, Akma, Liam, May, and Ethan. And please jump into the live chat if you have anything you'd like to say. And I'll leave it to Mayreen or the rest of you to alert us to the fact that there's something in the live chat. Or in the live chat, you can always just raise your hand digitally and we will hear that little sound and we can address you. But otherwise, I'm going to try and focus here and keep this going. Okay, so we're kind of hitting the ground running this morning, and so I haven't had a time to tee up everything in terms of what I wanted to do, but we have enough. And most importantly is I want to get you going on the activity. So instead of reviewing right now and giving you some feedback, which is what I normally like to do, I'm just going to say one thing about something that's really important that you're going to be doing, which is you have an assignment, your first assignment that's due next Tuesday. Okay, so that's been posted on DC Connect for you. The instructions are there, but I can tell you very, very briefly what you're supposed to do. But I'm leaving it to you just because we have a sprawling, class. I have 223 students this semester in 3 classes in this room, so I have a lot to deal with, and Mayreen to rely on. So I'm expecting that you are getting the alerts on DC Connect, and you know what's being announced. But when it comes to an assignment, which I've already announced, I'll still mention it briefly in class for those of you who are not fully up to speed. But please make sure that if you're having trouble staying up on DC Connect or you don't know what's going on, email me. Otherwise, here's what might happen. I'll just give you, I have to keep giving you feedback every class, even though I don't have time to give you individual feedback for all of your work and your posts and your assignments. But I will address one thing now that's really important about your first reflection. And this is in general feedback, okay? Feedback I'm seeing from the discussion posts and that I'm seeing already in the reflections that have been coming in. Last night, as I was going through some of the first reflections that were coming in, I had my heart broken, as I often do with every assignment. First, my alert was the student who delivered this, 85% not written by him, because on Turnitin, I was seeing that that's my first alert, okay? My first step in this process of beware and how to deal with the students. So then I clicked on that assignment, and sure enough, virtually all of the paragraphs were highlighted, meaning that the student did not write any of that. 85% of it was plagiarized. Now, I need to say this, and I need to say this clearly, and I need to say this to everybody, not just here in the cosmos. Don't do that. Please, you're going to get killed in this class. Not only will you fail, but if you're plagiarizing like that, I have a responsibility to put an academic alert out for you, which could really hurt you. I won't do that yet. But I'm going to speak very frankly and very supportively and very constructively to all of you because I care. So I'm going to speak now very, very frankly. Are you listening? Make sure you're listening. It's largely for the cosmos because the students who come in person, they're pretty serious. They don't do this, but it's all the others out there, and there's 116 students in just short history of the world alone. So a lot of my students are out there watching the recordings. If you are an international student whose money we rely on to keep this institution going, so I know for all of the students from other countries right now that we need your money to keep this institution going. However, stop cheating. You cannot be cutting and pasting things from other places and saying that's your work. I will fail you. Do you understand that? It has to be very clear. And if you see a 0 for your first assignment, your first reflection, it is because I have simply determined, with the help of with the help of Turnitin and then my own instincts when Turnitin is not working, it's obvious that you're using ChatGPT to write this. I'm just going to put a 0 on it. And as soon as you see that 0, if you don't know yourself why you got that, email me and I will help you. Okay? So this is largely for the international students who have trouble with their English. It happens all the time. I can't, like 75% of the time, it's from international students. But we need you, the international students. You're critical. And it's great to have you here. But some of you are working 4 jobs at the gas station, at Tim's. You're trying to send money back home. You're not sleeping. You're coming to classes. You're trying to do everything. And so you're taking the shortcuts. It's not going to help you in the long run. So here's what you need to do. If you get a 0 for the first reflection, please email me and ask me why, and I will help you get the support you need. Okay? Time management support, help with your English, help with your written English, help with your spoken English, and understanding some very basic study habits that maybe you didn't have back home. But now you're in my class. And in my class, my job is to help you become really ready for a very messed up, complex, global world. And if you're not smart and you're cheating your way through things, you're going to be very depressed for your life. And you're going to be rolled over by all the hungry people out there today who want to beat you to it. So I'm going to just stop and make sure that this is getting through, okay? That's my general feedback. Other than that, there has been an embarrassment of riches in the discussion posts, so many that I have a hard time selecting which ones to read out loud in class, whether they are questions or not. But sometimes even with the discussion posts, and I have no Turnitin monitoring that or anything else, I don't always know what's true and what isn't. In other words, who's cheating and who isn't. So I go for my instinct there too. But these are the times we live in, guys. You know, machines have developed so rapidly that you can go through college and university just clicking your way through by using ChatGPT to cheat for you. And it's going to kill you in the long run if you do that. We will have a dumb civilization of people waiting for Elon Musk's next post to tell them what to do. We don't want that, okay? Elon Musk, most powerful person on the planet right now, bought his way into the White House. $277 million he paid for to get Donald Trump elected and all the Republicans. He's now running the American government in a new department called DOGE, Department of Governmental Efficiency. And we're supposed to think that it's a joke, and we're supposed to laugh when he stands up in front of the American flag and does this twice. We know what that is. Do we want to call that his autism doing that? No. That's what his friends would like to say. It's his autism making him do that. This is a very brilliant person. Richest man on the planet. And he is supporting all the fascist movements, the right-wing movements in the UK, in Italy, in the United States. And what we don't want to enter into in this world is what we call techno-tyranny. The people who have control of tech, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Larry, whatever from Ellisman from other places, all standing together with Donald Trump And it's no surprise that Amazon has already just cut jobs in Quebec. Tesla's cars are going up $9,000 in Canada. So we need to be really, really clever right now about how we deal with this world. Otherwise, we're going to just go backwards to all those god kings that you're going to hear about in the story of civilization, which is essentially what you're going to hear from me when we start next week on human civilization. And you'll see all the different empires around the world, and you will come to understand we never chose democracy at the beginning. We were scared of it. We won that. We won human rights. Our default in societies, going all the way back in human history, is not freedom. It's the strong men. It's not women, even. It's the guys who come along and say, they've got the answers. Just let me make up my decisions and you follow me. Be obedient to me. That's a danger. We might be heading back in that direction. Anyways, okay, so that was my longer way of talking about feedback and how important it is for you to really make sure that you develop your critical thinking. So are you ready for the activity today? Okay, let me just get you properly set up for this to get you back to where you were last week. Could anybody just volunteer for a moment, and we'll let that go in the live chat here. What do you think a creation myth is? A creation myth. Does anyone want to? Great. Go ahead, Ron. I can move it around. It's fine. Creation myth. What is a creation myth?
I believe it is a way of addressing what we don't know, or what was not known widely amongst humanity,
Yes.
which is why the purpose was to create these myths to explain why we are here.
Very good. That's the beginning. I just want to have a little chat before you're all going to go to different pods and work this through, okay? And could you, Maureen, do you have to go right now? Are you okay? Would you take a few notes? Yeah, okay. Because keep Ron here for the moment. I want to make sure he's right here. Last week, we looked at our origins, and we looked at it through science, and we went to the Big Bang to understand something of how light and heat and particles emerged. And I told you that we have a way of telling our origins today based on science, but science isn't always 100% correct, but it's the best we have. There is another way of looking at how short history of the world begins, how the world begins, how humans began, how this all began. And these are called creation myths. And we all have a very big basic question that we like to ask is, where do we come from? Now, traditionally, before there was science, really developed science, the best we could do was what our culture helped us to understand. Whether our culture was, let's say, largely religiously based, as in an Islamic culture, or it could be a Sikh culture, Hindu culture, it could be the Ojibwe or Iroquois culture, but every single culture on this planet, and there's something like 12,000 of them today, were very diverse. Before there was this unifying thing called science, which is based on evidence, all of these cultures had their own stories of how we got here. And some of them are beautiful. They're very poetic, but they tended to be based on supernatural things, on our imagination. We didn't really have proof. And what I would like you to be able to do today is first, we need to identify some of the most important cultures whose creation myths we would like to know more about. It might be Hindu, might be Buddhist today, we will see. And then 3 or 4 of you will go to each individual pod, do some research together about that particular myth, and write out the key ideas so we can see how beautiful the human imagination is. We can't discount these stories. The human being, we are all human, want to know what is the truth. It's so basic to us. Thankfully, we have this thing called the scientific method now, which helps us to understand more of our real reality. But let's see what some of these great creation myths are all about. And had I been able to tee everything up quickly, I would have read out loud to you a lovely either first reflection that came in last night or a discussion post where a student said just this idea. This student wants to know what the creation myths are, wants to know more about what humans have been thinking about. So let's do this together. The only thing I'm going to say when you do your research together, I'm going to give you 4 things to think about, and when you have a moment, just go and write this down, okay? Sources are really important whenever you go anywhere for information. I'm going to give you 4 things to think about whenever you go to a source of information so that you can be assured that when you do the research online, you're getting real information, not pseudo information. Pseudo information like pseudoscience is just all sorts of things out there today online that are not true. And we all go online for our information now, including professors. I didn't do that when I was your age. I go to the library still and talk to the librarian and we talk about a book, but everything is a click away now. So this is good and it's also dangerous because it means we are constantly exposed to information that may not be true. So here are 4 things to ask yourselves when you're going to a source, okay? Is this transparent? In other words, do I know where this information came from? Is there a name of a person attached to it? Is that person real? Is there an institution attached to it that's a credible institution? If not, move on. Don't even give it 2 seconds of your thought, okay? You don't know where it came from. You could be easily, it could be just an algorithm speaking to you from Russia or from Donald Trump's head or Elon Musk at 3 in the morning deciding he wants to make a little tweak to his algorithm for X. He wants to mess with your mind. Do you know how much money he's now made just by joining the? It's just his stock has gone up hundreds of millions of dollars. The guy's cashing in on. And I have to stop about this because it's scary stuff. But anyways, transparency. Is it independent? Is that information really coming to you from a place that is fully independent? Or are you starting to smell that it's dependent on somebody or something or some kind of money for this? Is it rigorous? Well, I guess you could eliminate virtually all of social media. Social media is not rigorous. Come on, scrolling through TikTok, it's beautiful, it's entertaining, I like it. If I'm sitting on the subway or the bus and I see a young person going through TikTok, I can't help but watching the scroll through the videos. And within 15 minutes, I realize I'm lost. I've gone down the rabbit hole of nothing. That's not rigorous. It's just fun and entertaining. And then finally, and I'll try to give a word for this. Do you feel like somebody here is trying to persuade you of something? Like, as you're looking at this information, do you feel like this person is trying to tell you something you have to know, you need to know, that might make them some money or just that they're getting something off their chest because they want you to feel the way they feel? Move on. That's not rigorous information. It's just somebody passing gas, shouting. So I would say balanced is the word, the final word, balanced. Is it transparent? Is it rigorous? Is it independent? Is it balanced, the information. Now, after you kind of get that into your bones, that's your, mental checklist that you're always checking. It might take you a little while now to do that, but in a few days, if you can get that into your bones, that will be done in 5 seconds mentally. Transparent, rigorous, independent, balanced. Yeah. Okay, now I can stop and listen. Listen to this person. Listen to this website. Great. Okay. So, those are the 4 things I would say only as you go online now together. And I think the best thing to do, just to have fun with this, is we're going to start the activity right now. And I'm not even going to tell you what creation myth you would work on. You can decide that. We may end up getting 5 teams all talking about you know, the the Holy Scriptures, the from one God, the Christian story. That's fine. We'll see what you all come up with. But some of you may get pretty creative, and you'll start to wonder, well, what about all those indigenous peoples, and what do they think? And so, before you get into the groups, do any of you have any questions about what I'm asking you to kind of think about or do together? Do you feel you understand what you're about to embark on? Yeah? Okay, great. Well, then let me just do a little count here and also remind the students who came in later to sign the board. That's attendance, okay? So you can do that anytime today, but make sure before you leave, you put that up there. So let me see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, okay. And then we'll all come to all of you in the cosmos in a moment. I'm going to talk to you once they get going. We have 5 here. We have 24. So why don't we go with groups of 4 for now, and then I'll play with this. So number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So all ones are going to go with the ones and the twos, okay? So just remember your number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Great. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry to split you guys up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now, thanks, Mayreen. She's got it going. All ones go to where it says team 1. Okay, all number ones, and go. And Mayreen's going to get you a pen, and we'll get you all twos go over to the second one there. All threes are going to go where Mayreen is standing now. All fours, please go over there. And let's see how things shake down. And then for everybody online, just hold on. I'm going to give you my instructions. But if you have any questions, May, Ethan, and others, just put it in the live chat. But I will be with you very shortly. Great. Okay, the groups may be a little big, so we're going to split them up even more in a moment. We have that going as our standard notes. We'll leave that for now. Ooh, that's a big. So we've got 4 there. That's good. And that one's getting. And Ron, you're with that group, or? Okay. So here's what I'd like to do with the group team 2. I'd like to split 3 of you away from there. Could you come back here and sit here? Great. Okay. We'll make it work. We're going to get a big think tank going of all of you. Okay. Come and sit with them. Okay. You're going to be with them. So here we go. Another team. I've split off. And yes, stay together there for now. That's good. And that's good. I would like, Wavelength. What's your name? Good. Oh, Gurpreet, sing. Gurpreet. Could you come over here, please, and get a little bit of a balance? I hate to be visually profiling, but I don't want 2 turbans in one team. Okay, I want to split things up. Okay, but please, when I say something like that, I'm not racially profiling. I'm just having a little fun. Okay, I love everybody. I love humanity. All right, so we've got a team 1 over there. That's great. Team 2 over there. Team 3. Team 4. And then why don't you come in here and sit with these gentlemen? We have a nice balance here, okay? Great. And then Marine, we'll leave you on there for now, for the moment, okay? I just want to make sure. Now, then I think what we'll do is we'll move you guys over here, okay? So that will be Ron's team and your board, okay? Great. Now Maureen can come back. Excellent. I was really looking forward to this activity all week because I knew it was going to work as long as you showed up in person, and then we can. So, do you have any questions about what I'm asking you to do before you start doing it? What's that? You can start anytime. All of what you're noting is going to be put up on the board shortly for take up, and Maureen will be consolidating all of these into one PDF for you on the class folder. Okay? So all of this will be available to everybody. Yes. One story, one creation. You have to pick one culture. That's your choice. All the cultures in the world, you've got thousands. You choose. Then you have to do some research on, well, what's their creation myth? Every culture has an origin story. Once you do that and you found a good source, you want to start at Wikipedia, fine, but Wikipedia should take you to those great sources. Don't just rely on Wikipedia. Once you do that and you start having a discussion and you start writing down the key points of, well, how did the world begin? Who are their gods? Just one God? How did life begin? And who are these humans? Were they created by the gods, or did they come from turtles and other animals? Or how did the world get to be the way it is as an origin story from that culture? Make sense? Good? I'm here if you have any questions, and I'm going to deal with the people in the cosmos. Have fun with it, and I will check back in with you throughout, but we'll take about 15, 20 minutes for this, and then we're going to do the take up. Okay? Go for it. Way to go. It's good to have you. Yeah, if you can. But if you have to go, you have to. You okay? Yeah. Oh, terrific. Okay, good. So then what I'm going to do is I actually have allocated you a microphone because I think you should always have a microphone in case I want to talk to you. Okay, and in case we start to talk about stuff. Okay, so because I thought with 3 microphones, as I was watching the recordings, I noticed something that's working that may not be apparent is that when I have one microphone here and I go and hand it out, it looks good. It looks like, the professor's bringing them in. So all we need is one microphone for the circle, one microphone for here, the podium, and one for the scribe. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so let me, I'd like to go, I can do it over here, okay? Okay, guys, so online, Nick, Ethan, and May, and everybody else. Yes, it is. Thanks. Okay, so Nick, hi, it's Lon. I'm just at the big board now, talking to the Cosmos. Can you hear me clearly? Great. Good, Ethan. Okay. So here's what I'd like each of you to do. Ethan, May, Nick, and everybody else in the Cosmos right now, pick your culture, pick your origin myth or creation story, and start writing out the details in the live chat. So I'll come over here and I'll speak to you. I'll speak to them straight from. I want to just bring that. I'm going to talk to them here for a second. Okay. Great. Okay. So hi guys. I'm talking to the Cosmos now. Keep going. I'm talking to that camera. Okay. It's okay. So May, Ethan, and everybody else in the Cosmos right now. What I'd like you to do is exactly what your classmates are doing right now here, but they're working in small teams. You're going to work alone. I want you to spend the next 15 minutes thinking about one culture, you pick it, and then you do some research online to explain in the live chat, what is the creation myth of that culture, the origin story of that culture? Now, if you understand what I'm telling you right now, just put yes in the live chat, okay? Good, Ethan. What create Ethan, you pick the culture. You pick there are thousands of cultures in this world. And the diversity is something that we always want to celebrate and engage with. So, if you want some help, go to a religion. Go to your religion and then tell us in the live chat. Good, May. If you have an idea, start putting it into the live chat. Yeah. Then, May, go ahead. Tell us what the Christian creation story is. I suspect we're going to have quite a few of you doing Christianity, but Christianity is only one religion of many on this planet. It happens to be the religion that is most dominant in human civilization, with something like 2.5 billion people identifying as Christians. But that has to do with power. That has to do with the Roman Empire that adopted Christianity into its state religion. It doesn't mean that Christianity is any better, is any more important than Hinduism, Islam, or even the Iroquois or Ojibwe or any indigenous culture. So pick your culture, pick your creation myth. Start writing in the live chat the details. And good, we see Greek. Already I figured somebody's going to go for Greece, and that's great. Good, two, we got Greece. Okay, because we're going to be talking a lot about Greek mythology later. Keep going. Egyptian, nice. Ron's got Egypt, Ron and his team. If you want, you can do the Sikh. I mean, Sikhism is very interesting in terms of its origin story, but you don't have to, okay? I'm just giving you the chance. We have a very diverse group of students who bring many different cultures. And I see, May, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth within the 7 days. Yeah, that's right. Huh. The Genesis creation there. Good, Ethan. Keep going, guys, because we're going to be taking this up in about 15 or 20 minutes. But also, for those of you, good, Omari, for all of you online, the live chat becomes a resource. We save it and it will be available in the class folder. So, very good. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Play around, have some fun with that for sure. Good. Zeus. Zeus. Oh, Gaia. We've got the Gaia. Nice. Gaia is Greek for Mother Earth. Whoops. I don't want to fall down. Okay. So let me. So there you go, guys. Maureen will show you what's going on. More than one god. Absolutely. Mount Olympus. Team 2 is working on it. The Titans. Yeah. Yeah, the sun god. What's always, wow, look at what Nick put in the live chat. Very good. What do you got here, Nick? Now, Nick, I want to make sure, I'm going to ask you a tough question, okay? Did you write that or has that been cut and pasted into the live chat? If it is, it's okay, but I don't see quotation marks. So let's determine what's true here. Let's go back, Maureen, and scroll back on the live chat for a second and let's see Nick's. Okay. So Nick is saying the creation myth of Iroquois, Native Canadian, is known as the Sky Woman story. In the sky world above the earth, a sky woman lived with her people. She became pregnant and got carried. Okay. Beneath this was a huge hole, and she. It sounds like, Nick, you may not have written this yourself. That's okay, but I need to know that. This is good information, but I'm having a moment of confusion here as I read this. Did this come from Nick O'Donnell's brain, or did it come from his source? And Nick has not put quotation marks around it. That's what concerns me. Okay, you paraphrase that, Nick? Fair enough. Fair enough. Good. If you paraphrase it, what that means is Nick put it into his own words. Excellent. Ida, is it Ida or Eda? Ida? In the Mayan creation myth from the Popol Vuh, the gods created the earth, plants, and animals. They first made humans from mud, too weak, and wood, soulless, destroyed in a flood. Well, that's beautiful. Finally, they succeeded with humans made of maize dough, the sacred material, who became the ancestors of the Maya. That's lovely, Ida. Ida, how do you pronounce your name exactly? Can you let me know? I want to make sure I pronounce names correctly, but anyway. Ida. Good, good. Thanks. Ida. Ida, are you from South America? I suspect you are. If you're talking about the Maya so quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if you are from May. God created creation myth of Achilles. This sounds Greek. Yeah, the river Styx. That's just the river before you go into the afterlife for the Greeks. His mother, Thetis, attempted to make him immortal by dipping him into the river Styx, but she dipped him head first, leaving only his ankles undipped. That left only one area of the body vulnerable, which were his heels. Oh, the poetry here. Omari, that's why, of course, we have the Achilles heel. Now, Omari, can we trust this information? How do I know this is true in terms of this is a creation myth that comes from Greek mythology? Where is this information coming from? Think about it, okay, Omari? And I want to make sure, otherwise, you could have just made this up and put quotation marks around it. I have no idea. So, what's your source? What's your source? When we take this up, we'll put that's going to be, let's see, our next step. But it's pretty simple. We'll do what like we did the first time. We'll make these individual cards, and then we'll just have like the team. We'll start over there, okay, and then we'll put theirs up, and then we'll put theirs up here and theirs up. So we'll always have 3 cards up, and um, actually, you know what? One card there, leave that up here, and another card there, and I'll read that out loud. That's great, okay, because that's nice. Okay, keep going. 5 more minutes, okay? And then we'll take it up together. But we've got the beginnings, excellent, of some good ideas. Multiple gods. That's right. The idea of a single god is relatively new. Most cultures have multiple gods. Okay, Omari, that's good. Britannica.com, fair enough. That's a standard, well-established encyclopedia. I have my own set at home, my own set. which I still use. Good. So for all of you, using Britannica is fine, and there may be mistakes even with them too, but at least we know we're dealing with an established scholarly source. And normally with Encyclopedia Britannica, you can actually get the individual author and their background with each article. So you know who wrote it, and they're a real person. Do I see anything from Aaron and Akmal? Let's see. Maureen, can you scroll back on the live chat? And let's see, what do we have? We have May, we have Ida, Nick, Ethan, Ida, May, Nick. Yeah, Nick gave us that lovely one. I think I might have seen Omari. Okay. Ethan, May. Yep. So Aaron and Akmal, are you on your planets right now, or have you gone for a spacewalk? You real today, Aaron and Akmal? Good. Okay, here comes Aaron's. So Aaron's brain is in the class. Akmal, are you real today, or are you a fake Akmal? Good. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, I won't push Akmal too much. He or she, I'm not sure, but I'm concerned that planet Akmal is an empty planet today. But we know we have Aaron, we know we have Ida, we know we have Ethan. Good. Okay. Nice. Prometheus enters the story. Very good. We're going to be talking about Prometheus later this semester. It's okay as long as you can read it out loud. Afterwards, when we do the take up and you can talk, okay, you can read it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, because I'll get you a microphone. Okay, 2 minutes, and then I'll take the microphone around. Okay, today. Good. Let's see online for the Cosmos. Nick, are you able to use your microphone today? Because Nick O'Donnell, I don't know if has he left, or he might have. Let's see who's able to use their microphone today. He's gone. Okay. Uh, Ida, are you able to use your microphone today, or is your microphone broken, or are you putting your child to sleep? I'm I'm just making this up, Ida. I'm thinking maybe you're standing in a crib right now with your baby and you're doing the class, but I'm making this up. Okay. Ida's back. Okay. Okay, everybody, get ready for the take up. I'm going to bring the microphone around for you to speak into. We're going to start over here, okay? And Maureen's already put this up. Okay. So we're about to do take up. Way to go. Way to go. Okay. Uh, so here's the microphone. I'll move it around. Speaking into the microphones underneath the screens doesn't work because it doesn't connect to the recording into YouTube. So we've ditched that. We're just going to stick with this. So we're coming over here, and lo and behold, Greek mythology enters, and we're going to be dealing with them for sure in our story of early civilizations. But let's see some of the key points. I've turned it on for you, so anyone can speak. Who? What we could do to make this really simple is combine exactly because this big group here is the Peloponnese. That's the area that juts out of the Mediterranean where there is Greece. It's a peninsula, the Peloponnese. Okay, we talk about the Peloponnesian War, for example, in ancient Greek culture. That was Sparta and Athens. So you are the Peloponnese right now, Greece. Okay, so who's going to speak? Somebody tell us about Greek creation myths. Anybody here? We've got whoever is ready. You just start talking so we can hear you. And karaoke, I'll turn up the. So, what do they tell us? What do the Greeks tell us? Our origins. Go ahead. You must now speak.
I don't want to do this. Okay, so the Greek god that is, I would say, how would you say?
Like Greek mythology is connected to the Greek of god Zeus, who is the father of all gods.
Give it to Push. He's always, and let's make one minor spelling change that has to be made. We've all noticed this.
Hello everyone.
The U and the E in Zeus, please. And you can.
Hello everyone. My name is Piyush,
Zeus.
and now we are going to introduce Greek mythology, which is connected to the Greece. And Greek mythology god, like the father of all gods, is Zeus,
Yes.
and they have like 12 main gods.
12 main gods. Yeah. And tell us a little bit more about what you've discovered. You can even just read it from there if you want, but just as some basic ideas about how they looked at the origins. It starts with this one patriarchal god, this one main god, Zeus.
Yeah, I told you that
Yes.
god Zeus is the father of all gods. Like they have like every type god they have, like the thunder god, water god, and the love god as well.
Poseidon, for example.
Side of
Poseidon's
this,
a great
like
god, the
I
ocean.
don't know about the question,
Poseidon, yeah.
but we are going to introduce like Mountain Olympias.
Yes.
And Greek mythology is connected to religion, told through the story of the origin and lives of gods. It helped explain natural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had to explain natural phenomena. This is what we were doing a lot early in societies as things were happening to us. There would be great storms and great floods and great droughts. So these forces would acquire names for these terrible forces that could inflict damage on us. So nature was very important. Yeah.
Yeah, natural phenomenon means like the god will definitely punish you if you are playing with the nature. So as right now there is a circumstance will always be happen in USA, as in the LA. There
Yes.
a big fire.
Yes.
You can say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we could say if we were not in 2025, but we were back in, let's say, ancient Athens.
Or we can say in 2019, the COVID era.
Yes, but we could say something like this. If we didn't have science yet, we would say about the fires in California, God, the fire god's really angry right now at us. What should we do to stop this fire? Maybe we should make some sacrifices. Maybe we should make some sacrifices. And then what about that terrible pandemic that's just swept through? One did hit ancient Athens, and that's how they got defeated by the Spartans in the Peloponnesian War. You know, they had a terrible plague, and it killed their leader. You'll see, Pericles. And they could say, it's punishment. We're being punished. I guess we're going to have to start to be good, and then there won't be any more plagues. But nowadays, well, we have chemical laboratory technicians in this class. You go and work in a lab, and you have microbiology, and you study little things, and we have science. Anyways, okay. Excellent. Anything else you want to add to this before we move?
Yeah, there is an
the Peloponnese?
existence of the depend on being remembered by the living. And most Greek legends were fiction and folk tales.
Most Greek legends were fiction or folk tales, right? And then existence of the dead depended on how did everything get created? This is important, like from the Greek standpoint, from the Greek. Oh, you got Greek? So we got this Peloponnese, sprawling Peloponnese. Let me bring let me bring it over here, okay? I'll be the mic guy, okay? It works. So this ensures we get good audio. So yeah, now we get the Gaia. Very good. Go on, okay? Peloponnese. Go ahead.
So how ours is, so from nothing and chaos,
Yes.
and Gaia, the earth. That's Greek mythology. Gaia is the earth. It was born from chaos, which is just nothing, essentially.
There was nothing.
Nothing.
So we saw nothing last week before the Big Bang. It was just darkness, nothing. But then, according to the Greeks, how did
Gaia
we
was
get
just
something?
born out of nothing. Gaia was born, and Gaia has three siblings. One is Eros, who's love. Pontus is sea, and Tartarus is hell.
Now
And
this is beautiful. So
And then Gaia, unfertilized, gives born to Uranus without male assistance. And then a little bit of incest. Uranus fertilizes Gaia.
well,
and
let's stop
makes
for a second. Make sure we get
Titans.
pronunciation correct. Just because we had to do this, when we say somebody gave birth to Uranus, this does sound a little odd. So we'll say Uranus.
Uranus.
That's how we say it. Okay.
Uranus is the
So-
sky, not the planet in this case. Uranus is the sky, not a planet. And then they gave birth to the Titans, which is just a fancy term for gods.
Sort of half gods, half human.
No, these are the gods. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Titans are gods.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
Okay.
demigods are gods and humans. So then from the Titans, one of them is Prometheus, who
Yes.
made man out of clay, and then with Athena just breathed life into man. And that's how man is made in Greek mythology.
Now, we don't know if this is true or not. Probably it isn't because we have science to help us. But you can't deny how kind of beautiful this is. Mud and then Eros, love. This was the first. Could you write down Eros as the first? Eros. So in the Big Bang that I showed you with all the hydrogen and helium and then clumping together in forms of, did I ever mention love? Huh? Well, not to this. So we can't discount these creation myths. They're telling us something about what matters in creation. Maybe love, which is very hard to understand, is really, really important. But we can't prove it. So, okay, very, very good. All right, let's move on. Is it Ethan? Oh, you're Sean. Okay, thanks, Sean. Great. So I'm going to move this around and make sure. So we've just had a nice introduction to the Peloponnese, Greece, ancient Greece, from these three teams in two classes. When we get to Awakenings of Power after Civilization, you're going to hear a lot more about particularly Prometheus. Because Prometheus, the demigod, it's often said about the times we live in now, it's called the Promethean Age. It's been said that the 20th century and beyond, we're in the Promethean Age. And I'll explain that later. So it's very good that you're already latching on to Greece. They are very important in the story. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's go. Keep going over here and go ahead.
My name is Alban. So we have taken a topic called Christianity.
Christianity.
So as per the Holy Book Bible, the origin of the world was done in 7 days, like from the day one, light and darkness. Then second day, sky and earth, and all these things. On the seventh, on the sixth day, God created like the living creatures, like the
Yes.
humans and the animals. On the seventh day, He took rest. This is what the Bible says.
It's what the Bible says. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One Bible. It's just one set of scriptures for one set of perspectives, if you will, but it's dominant in our world today for certain reasons. Yeah, go ahead.
And even the Bible says that initially there were only two humans, which God created from His own likeness, like Adam and Eve.
I thought it was Lon and Maureen. No, I guess not. Joking. Adam and Eve. So is it? And didn't Eve come out of Adam's rib?
Yeah, that's what Christianity says
How
again.
how did that happen? Anyway, well, let it go. It's poetry. It's poetry. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So again, even they say like humans, when God created them, they didn't have the intelligence to decide what is right, what is wrong. Because of the fruit apple,
We ate the forbidden fruit.
So that's
We
how.
sinned. We sinned. We sinned mortally. So we're bad people. We're bad people. Yeah. Gotta watch that. Yeah. They had to ruin it for us. So we have to pay for our sins forever, according to this. Okay, gentlemen, I just asked you one question before we come to Ron's group. Well, given, how do I say this again? Were any of you born here in this part of the world? Any of you? No, probably not. But why would you pick Christianity? Is it important to you as a person? Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian,
Are you a Christian?
but
Are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? Huh. Wait a minute. So Christianity, which is the dominant creation story on planet Earth, 2.5 billion people of 8 billion on planet Earth identify as Christians. Okay, let's be clear about that. 1.5 Muslims. And then we've got the Hindus, and we've got the Sikhs, and then we've got the Jews running after this all. But essentially, Christianity is the dominant, but it's actually not dominant for you three. You have another way of looking at creation, right? So, just for a moment, for the sake of understanding creation and diversity, let's stop for a second and accept that everybody knows this, the Christian one. I mean, it's just like, we all know a 7-day creation, and this is the culture we're in, but actually, there's something else that really matters, and that's the Sikh creation story. Are you able to put a few points or tell us a few points about who created everything according to Sikhism? Would you be able to tell us? Do you feel it's I don't want to press you too much, but this is a diverse planet-wide world, and Christianity is just one of many ways of looking at things. Yeah, okay?
Actually, the Sikhism is not a belief in the creating of the God. How the world is created is different story. Sikhism is a way of living the life,
Huh.
and the story which is begin how the world is created is the Hinduism, and the story God is created the life for like there are billion of galaxy, and it is very complex, and I also don't know
Sure.
the story. That's why I don't.
It's okay, but thank you for coming. But you said there's a Hindu, so Sikhs follow the Hindu creation myth?
Yeah, pretty
Huh.
much.
Interesting. And it's complex. It's complex. Oh, wow. I'd like to know more about that. And what is the purpose of the human? What is their purpose according to the Sikh? The Christian says we have to suffer. The Jew, these are all says we got to listen to God, and the Muslim has to be obedient to God. Obey. These are all one gods that we're supposed to. They all follow the same. Jew, Christian, and Muslim all follow the same stories, largely. But in the Sikh story, are we supposed to be happier? Is that true? Is it fair for me to say that the Sikh says the purpose of the human is not to suffer? Because according to the Christian, the Muslim, and the Jew, all following one God, we're supposed to suffer and be afraid. Does the Sikh say that? Well, anyways, I'm just putting it out there, okay? There are different ways of looking at what we're supposed to be doing here as humans and how we got here. But okay, thank you. All right, I won't. Did you want to say something before we move on to
There was three big god, and the one who created the world was a Brahma.
was it Brahma?
Yeah, the
Okay.
one who to punish the demons and all is a Vishnu, and the biggest one is a Shiva god. He has the power to destroy everything.
So who's the most powerful? The big dog, the Donald Trump here.
Shiva, yeah.
Shiva's the boss.
Yeah.
This is what they all say about Donald.
They are three of part of the one.
He's okay. 'Cause if you talk to a Trump MAGA supporter, they love to say this. The big boss is back in the house. Anyway, I'm not going to laugh too much. Okay, it's not fair. It's just crazy what we humans think. So, do those gods ever fight? Those three gods?
No,
But those 12 gods do. They fight a lot. The Greek gods.
they are like pray each other,
They
pray each other,
pray.
each other. Yeah,
Ah, they support
So-
each other.
yeah.
But these ones, they're always at each other's throats. What's that? Especially Zeus. Yeah, until Prometheus comes along and steals the fire from all of them, and he's going to give it to the humans. And then Prometheus gets strapped against a cliff to suffer forever for stealing the power of the gods. What's that? Oh, it's nasty. That's why we say we're in the Promethean age. We humans have stolen the power of the gods. Are we ready to suffer for that? Exactly, Ron, you got it. Okay, over here, and then we're going to go to Ron and his group. Did you want to say? Yes? They're related. Oh, God. They come from the same blood, so there's probably some kind of mental issues there. The Egyptians had this. A lot of their pharaohs were inbred, and that's why they had physical infirmities. Tutankhamun, famous, had a bit of a limp. You know, they were all incestuous. Yikes. I think I like the Sikhs more here. Yeah. Okay, let's finish over here, okay? And then we're going to carry on with what a diversity. What an incredible thing human beings are. Go on. Yeah.
Right, the Egyptians. So there's a city that goes by multiple names. In ancient Egypt, it was called Iron. The Greeks have called it Heliopolis. The Arabs, Ain Shams, and apparently it's the city, according to this creation myth, that witnessed the creation of the universe. And there was a god named Atum who decided to begin creation during a period where there was only darkness surrounding this vicinity.
Yes, yes.
And the sun god Ra was created out of the god Shu, who is the god of dryness and air, and Tefnut, who is the god of humidity. And
Humidity.
Yeah.
Or weather, or humidity, or just make
humidity, the climate, yeah, yeah.
climate, yeah, or
yes.
something like that. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah, go on.
So there's already natural elements at play in terms of
Definitely.
how people are explaining creation.
Do you want to bring that, Maureen, bring up team 5? Yeah, make sure we have the right, and then we're going to wrap up. So we're going to put yours up there, okay?
Oh, all right.
There you go. So
Look at my wretched little handwriting. Anyhow, so Geb, who became the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess, they created Osiris. And Osiris was considered to be one of the most powerful gods in ancient Egypt. Osiris and Isis, they taught humanity agriculture, but Osiris's brother was very jealous of the power that he had, and he killed him. But I mean, the article that I was reading from the American Research Center in Egypt from 2023 it went on further disseminating all this mythology. But I just
Yes.
really wanted to focus on this, like how it happened.
it's great, Ron. In this team, do you want to add anything that Ron has not made before we move on? And I will point out something interesting here. I always like to point out patterns or sort of things that connect to other cultures, because that's what we do in world history today, is we look at the connections between cultures often, okay? So we have Osiris and Isis. These were two gods, Ron, Osiris and gods of agriculture? Yeah.
Yes, they were gods, and they taught humanity agriculture.
You're going to see next week, when we really start looking at the beginnings of civilization, that one of the great breakthroughs and turning points was agriculture, what we call food production. And you'll see how that worked, particularly in Egypt and just north of there, Mesopotamia. But what's interesting here is I'm learning, and I think this is true, I haven't checked it, that one of the gods was jealous of the other gods,
Yes,
killed the other one.
Seth was Osiris's brother, and he was jealous of him, and he killed him.
Wow. Do any of you know a little bit about the origins of ancient Rome? We will be talking about that. And Romulus and Remus? Do you want to tell us about what happened with Romulus and Remus? These are the two.
I don't remember who killed who, but they got in power. And then was it Romulus who killed Remus? Or
Romulus killed Oh God, I get it confused.
yeah,
Romulus killed Remus, exactly, and that's
because
how
he
we got
didn't want to
from
share power with him.
Romulus. What's that?
After their initial success, he didn't want to share power with them, right?
I can't tell you exactly why, but it's interesting. Here we have an Egyptian culture that has at its origin these two gods that are jealous, and one, we might even call it fratricide. Fratricide at the origins of their culture. Then, if you fast forward a few centuries into the beginnings of, let's not say the Roman Republic, because the Roman Republic was 800 years before Jesus. So when we go into the Roman Empire, just we would, if we went ahead about 4,000 years from ancient Egypt to Rome, we will see the same idea, but in a different way. Two powerful figures and one kills the other. So violent. In the Sikh worldview, do you kill each other as gods? Maybe we will start to understand something about why later in human history, where are we going to see a beautiful idea of peace and nonviolence emerge in the world? And we will see the first nonviolent emperor named Ashoka emerge, who will become the basis for the movement of nonviolence that led to civil rights, led to Mahatma Gandhi and others. It's going to come out of India. It's going to come out of India. So for all of you right now, as you see India in this class, whether it's in the Punjab and northern India, that's Sikhs, or the Hindu, the great Hindu faith of many Indians, or even Mehreen, who's partly Indian and all over the world, we might want to just say a little moment of respect for a moment to India, because they're going to be a very important part of human civilization and their ideas. But anyways, okay, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we return? And I'm going to do a little bit of a talk and then we're going to end. But this is a lot of fun to have a class where we're really learning together. Is there anything you would like to add about creation myths? Yes. And oh, here, I'll give you. Go ahead. Yes. In Roman. Oh, excellent. Yeah, Cain and Abel. There is something in our cultures that we will explore more and more in terms of the ideas, the forces, the breakthroughs. We call them archetypes. Have any of you ever heard of the term archetype before? What does it mean, archetype?
It's kind of like a general factor you find over various stories.
In different diverse cultures, we see the same sort of forces at play. For example, you'll see next week with the ziggurat, the ancient ziggurat in Mesopotamia, shaped like a sort of a pyramid. That was happening independent of Egypt, that had its own pyramids. And then you're going to see in the Americas with some of the early American civilizations, they too had their pyramid-like structures. But these cultures were not in contact with each other. Why is it they're thinking in terms of pyramids? Because maybe there's something archetypally human in that. Maybe we share stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you. What's your name?
Marshall.
Marshall. Thanks, Marshall. Okay. Could you please come back to your couch, and we're gonna look at the new topic, and we'll look at what was written, and then we're gonna finish up. But way to go. And for those of you, good, Nick, we'll come. Will you tell us? Tell it, yeah, okay. Good, Piyush, you're thinking. Thanks, everybody, and I can't tell you as an instructor and as a professor how gratifying it is to see humans come in person like this, and we interact and learn together. And it just proves to me that learning in person together using technology well can really be a lot of fun. So this should be a kind of a learning party when you come into this room, except there's no drinks, there's no dancing, but there is a DJ. But we learn together. So I'm going to move on from this idea of creation mythology, just so that you've had a taste of just how rich it is in terms of our attempt to understand our origins. And I want to read out loud something that was written. Thankfully, Maureen found what I wanted to read to you at the beginning of the class. And this came in as a discussion post. Yeah, from Aiden. I can't pronounce his or her, I think it's a male last name, but Aiden, excellent post. And it's my determination as well, when I was reading this quickly, that you actually wrote it. It wasn't an algorithm. And that's great. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud, but this is what I wanted to read to you at the beginning, but I'll read it now as a punctuating part. Aiden said, how do different cultural creation myths shape how we think about where humanity came from? And how does that compare to the scientific ideas like the Big Bang and evolution? I think this question matters because it ties together cultural, spiritual, and scientific ways of thinking about where we come from, which were all major parts of the lecture. So Aiden's referring to last week. Creation myths from different religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity have been passed down for generations and carry deep meaning for people. Personally, I was raised Christian. They shape how societies understand human purpose, the meaning of life, and our place in the universe. On the other hand, the scientific perspective with ideas like the Big Bang and evolution offers a different kind of explanation based on evidence and critical thinking. What stood out to me in the lecture was how both of these approaches, myths and science, tell stories that help us make sense of our origins. This question could spark a really interesting conversation about how these stories coexist. More often than not, a lot of these creation stories have some sort of correlation, whether they can complement each other or if they create tension. It also helps us think critically about the role of storytelling, belief, and evidence in shaping how we see the world and ourselves. Plus, it pushes us to consider why humans are so driven to ask these big questions about life, existence, and universe in the first place. So that's why I think this kind of question can bring out some really interesting ideas and help us appreciate both the stories we tell and the discoveries we've made. Way to go, Aiden. Thank you for that. And I hope that we've touched on some of those things in the activity today. I might punctuate or conclude this by mentioning to you a person who has spoken a great deal about the importance of storytelling in the human experience on Earth. And you may know his name, Yuval Noah Harari. Have any of you heard of his name? Yuval Noah Harari. He's written some very important books called Homo Deus, Sapiens. He's a scholar, an Israeli scholar who you can see all over the internet today in terms of conferences. I think he was just at the World Economic Forum as well, but he's highly respected. And he has spoken about the fact that in the human experience, when you look at all the different stories of humanity, storytelling is what this is all about. We humans want to make sense and bring meaning to what is our purpose and why we're here. And we do that through stories. We do that through narratives. And so every single culture, even science, has its own story. But these stories can change depending on new developments in human civilization, new information. So just try to get your mind around the fact of just how important narrative is, storytelling is in the human experience. Every culture has its own story. Okay, I'm going to just start talking a little bit about Ascent of Humanity. And Maureen, can I bring up the PowerPoint that I had in the, I just don't want to touch anything the way you've set it up. Okay, just go to the doc and put up the first slide and then I'll come back. And what I'd like to do is just take the last 10 minutes or so to just introduce you to the next chapter in the story, and then I can continue next week. But I think that when we have classes, it's much more important for us to be interacting in activities than just me giving lectures. However, yeah, and then just shoot forwards a little bit, and then there we go. Okay, yeah, perfect. I think for the sake of a little bit of variety, and just because I often will change the class plan depending on how things have been going, I'm not going to try and squeeze too much right now into your head in terms of this story. I'm going to try and set you up for one of the best videos that you're going to see in this class, and I'm going to explain about this person in a moment. So I'll let Mayreen know when we're ready, but we're going to do a video shortly. Okay, I'll let you know. This is the story that I've chosen to tell. This is my narrative, Short History of the World, that I have developed through a lot of research and thinking over many, many years of studying. And I always have giants on whose shoulders I stand. And I try to bring each week to you another really good source, whether it's Jacob Bronowski that I talk about, whether it's David Christian, the author of Big History and that whole field, the new field. Well, you're looking at another person that I'd like to introduce before I begin with a little bit more of the lecture today. And that is, he's the author of a book, Jerry Coyne, called Why Evolution is True. And I'll pass this around if you want. He is an evolutionary biologist. And he has spent his lifetime at University of Chicago trying to understand some of the critical developments in the story of evolution on planet Earth. And that's a picture of him feeding, I think, the pigeons or the birds, and there's a pond near the University of Chicago, and he goes there 3 times a day, apparently, and he feeds the birds. And he's a really experienced chronicler of the human experience through what science can tell us. And he's the one I mentioned to you last week who tells that extraordinary story of when he was speaking at a conference in the United States to a group of senior executives talking about evolution, and one of them came up to him at the end of the lecture and said, "I know what you said is true. I still don't believe it." Do you remember that from last week? I think I mentioned that last week. The ascent of humanity, when we really begin to understand a short history of the world, at its core has this great force. It's called evolution. And I'm hoping that you're going to start to understand more deeply what has been happening as a result of the evolutionary process on planet Earth, what evolution is, the mechanism of evolution that we've discovered takes place in our genomes. Genetic science has helped us to understand that in modern times. And through the great thinking of human beings who've helped us to understand evolution, you'll begin to think about the future in new ways. When you see that evolution is a natural, irreversible force on planet Earth, that something has been going on and we don't know exactly why, but it has been happening, you will start to ask yourself questions like, well, what are we evolving into? What is human society evolving into? And those are important questions to ask. But if you have an emotional block and you can't quite trust the evolutionary biologists who are bringing us more and more information, and you cling to your origin story, whether it's your Christian story, your Jewish story, your Muslim story, your Hindu story, I ask you to just open your mind more and try and accept that we humans just got here. And That's a very difficult thing to really understand sometimes, because when we look at this story of what's been happening on planet Earth, we largely haven't looked at history this way. But now we do. And now we look at the story of all humans on planet Earth. And when we see what's been happening in a planetary way, we see that this thing called human civilization just started kind of yesterday. And that's what I'm going to help you to see more and more of, that we're in a period of immense, as one student told me once, growing pains. We humans are coming to terms, slowly but surely, with the idea that we know we're on this planet. It's not a conspiracy. We have evidence now. We go off the planet. We see the planet from space. We're going further now. We know we're not the center of the universe. We used to think that. It was called the geocentric view of the world, until scientists began to see and tell us, and we proved it, that it's actually a heliocentric world. The sun is the center of everything. Our star is the center. So, we've been learning a lot of things. Now, one thing I just want to say before I tee up this video for you is I'm just going to come back to last week where we were, and then I'm going to stop. Okay? And last week we ended with me showing you this, which is the oldest weapon that we've ever uncovered. It's a 3 million year old rock. And that rock has been shaped by very early human hands. The hands that had thumbs and precision grip and could begin to shape this. And when we talk about this period of time from the Great Divergence, 7 million years ago, when we began to come down from trees and we became bipedal, we rose and we started to stand and we started to do things with our hands and manipulate nature in new ways. This is going to give us some remarkable new powers. Now, I'll bring this over here for a second. I think I can do this myself. Hold on. I am on, am I on main? Main, yeah, let's watch. We'll do this so you can see, and then we'll put we'll leave that there for now, okay? I want you to introduce yourself to you around 2 million years ago. I'm talking in a very introductory way of a period between 7 million and 10,000 years ago, the period when we humans started to come down onto the land, we rose and we had our hands, we could walk further, and we began to do more with the natural world, and our physical appearance began to change greatly too. We're so lucky today in explaining this story of evolution that we have all of this art, all of these new, these sort of cultural arts that can recreate based on science through sculpture, through animation, through digital technology, what it really looked like, what it really felt like. This is science and technology. Well, that's you, essentially, about 2 million years ago. As a matter of fact, that's you about 200,000 years ago. Now, let's just remind ourselves of what's starting to happen here, okay? Let me just go back, and you can see that it starts with a human being, a scholar, who wants to know what's been really going on planet Earth. And we might call that person an atheist, but that's not fair. That's really a very narrow way of looking at it. It's a scientist who wants to remove sometimes the blinkers of their creation myth, what their culture is telling them, and just look at things as they really are and use critical thinking to really understand what's really happening. These are what I call, in our story, the free thinkers. Could you write that down somewhere? I'm going to show you a video of a remarkable free thinker. If we didn't have these free thinkers, and they come essentially from science, mostly, the people who really they just want to know exactly what is the truth of what's been going on here, and how might that change the way we really think about ourselves. If we didn't have those people, we wouldn't be that smart. We'd kind of be stuck in our religion, stuck in our culture, stuck in that one way of looking at things. Well, there are two people, in addition to Jerry Coyne, that you need to know about right now. And I'm just going to mention their names, and then I'm going to show you a video of one, a lovely video. The first person, of course, is Charles Darwin. You probably know who that person is. In 1859, less than 200 years ago, like last night in terms of cosmic time, he returned from the Galapagos Islands off the coast of Ecuador, and he spent about 35 years full-time living in his study with all the fossils, the thousands of fossils and bones and materials that he collected from his research around the world. And he gradually began to study these things, and he began to form a theory called the theory of evolution through natural selection. And he published a book called The Origin of Species in 1859 that was cataclysmic for humanity. It was the moment when humanity was being told with evidence, but not all, that we weren't just put here by gods. We've grown out of everything that's been happening over time. The video I want to show you, and then we're going to end, okay? And for those of you online, I'd like you to click on the video. It's called A.R. Wallace. There's another person you need to know about that really drives home this idea of understanding evolution. How many of you have ever heard the name Alfred Russel Wallace? Ron? Okay, good. Some, a little bit? It's because evolution often isn't taught that well, but we're getting better at it. It turns out there was another person, like Charles Darwin, who traveled east in the world. He went all the way to Indonesia, to the Malay Archipelago, a series of islands, just the way Charles Darwin went west to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands. These were two young British free thinkers, very curious. This video shows you something about the mindset of Alfred Russel Wallace and what he discovered, and it's very creatively done too. And I think it will give you a real sense of where we're coming now in the story, which is we're entering the part of the story now where we're going to be learning more and more about what happened on this planet, thanks to an understanding of evolution, thanks to an understanding that everything changes on planet Earth. Let's run this, and then we're going to end the class. Well, can we go 5 minutes over? I really want you to see this, okay? The ascent of humanity cannot be told without understanding the people who help us scientifically to tell it. So watch this lovely video. And for those of you online, go ahead and click. It's in class 3, and I'll kill the lights. Alfred Russel, there it is, Alfred Russel Wallace. I don't have much more to add. Other than that, I will review everything next week with you, but you're going to see a remarkable story unfold. And there are a lot of people like this who have these eureka moments. Just think about the idea that Alfred Russel Wallace, when he wrote to Charles Darwin, and Charles Darwin went ahead and published Origin of Species and acknowledged Alfred Russel Wallace a little bit, they weren't fighting each other. They weren't trying to kill each other. They were joined together in a greater enterprise called human understanding. Wouldn't that be nice if in the future we had more people like that, that maybe we can work together and understand more instead of the doctrine of self-interest? The doctrine of self-interest. Think about that. Oof. We'll get to that next week, okay? Yes, but you've got many more years here, Ron, than I do on this planet, and seize every moment and understand, because it's a wild, wild, crazy ride on this planet. Anyways, thank you all. I look forward to your discussion posts, and on next Tuesday, your first assignment, please email me if you have any questions, and I'm here. I have to go to the atrium right now to make room for the next class, but we can meet there if you like.
Can everyone make sure you've put your name on the attendance?
Oh, make sure you get, yes, thanks, Maureen. Make sure you sign the attendance board before you leave. And I'm going to turn off my microphone.